Let's go and move on to Last Crusade real quick, because I do want to talk about that. Because, like I said, I just watched it, but the dynamic between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford in that movie is amazing. I think that's one of the things that makes that movie. Like,
Yeah. It was actually so from what I heard, originally, um, you know, the basically the idea that Sean Connery as the father there, the kind of like his the way he portrayed the character, basically. Let me figure out what I'm trying to say. He he's constantly like getting them into trouble, and not constantly aware of his surroundings. He's not exactly the big bad, action hero that you would have thought he would have been. That was actually or from what I heard at least, a decision on Sean Connery's part. He was like, I feel like this would make a much better dynamic for the character, because I think they wanted him to come in and be, a much more rugged, basically kind of a character that Sean Connery had, played previously, like, a bunch of them, I guess, because he was more known for those roles. But he came in, he was like, no, I think I should be a little bit more, not quite an idiot, but, a little bit more on the just getting into trouble kind of a side. And it really does play well, because it like I love Sean Connery in that movie. Like, he is one of, if not my favorite part of that movie. Like, he's funny. He's like, all his scenes with the interactions with Indiana Jones, like, all of it's hilarious. It's just a really fun movie to watch.
Yeah. Like I said, their dynamic is what really makes that movie, and yeah, like, I think the way he portrays that character is also really, really good, because he's kind of the like idiot genius, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, he's kind of dingy, but he's still a genius.
Yeah.
He's the one that did all that research that actually led them to the Holy Grail. Like,
Yeah. It's like he's a very smart guy, but it's probably kind of portrayed in the way of like those people who are like really smart in school but they have no common sense. I feel like that's kind of the way he ended up portraying the characters, like, because he is a smart guy. He's an archaeologist. He's been doing this for years. Like you said, he found the Holy Grail. Like, all his research is what found him the Holy Grail. But he, carries himself in a very, I guess, idiotic way. He's not exactly the smartest when it comes to everyday life.
Which he's an archaeologist, but he's not the same kind of archaeologist that Indy is.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's the same kind of archaeologist as Indy is.
Yeah, that's true.
Not quite a real job. So funny thing that I heard today, about The Last Crusade, a little behind the scenes thing was, apparently, during the blimp scene, where they're in like the cafe or whatever, the dining hall area. Something to add when you're watching the movie. Apparently, neither Sean Connery or Harrison Ford had pants on in that scene.
What?
From what I heard, apparently it was so hot that Sean Connery took his pants off, and not long after that, Harrison Ford did the exact same thing, because it was just so hot filming that scene. I believe it was that scene. There was a scene, and I'm pretty sure it's that one, if I remember correctly. But it's just kind of like one of those fun little details where it's like, you'd never know watching the movie. They don't do that. But they just don't have any pants on.
Okay, then.
Now you could be thinking about that when you watch that scene. You can be like, they have no pants on.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but that's not where I thought you were going.
Yeah, I thought I could probably catch you off guard with that one. Even if you had heard that before, I mean, I probably still would have caught you off guard with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a funny little thing.
I love I
So
love Easter eggs like that or stuff like that in movies. Like
yeah, like the
it's
little
just
little tidbits behind the scenes. Yeah,
you'd never know watching an actual movie.
yeah. Real quick, I do want to mention this one last thing before, since it sounds like we're kind of wrapping up on the Last Crusade and probably moving into the Crystal Skull. Before we get off of the original trilogy, I do want to make this comment. Harrison Ford had a real hard time with the first two indie movies, you know? Which it sounds like he might not have had such a hard time with the Last Crusade, which is good. But what I mean by that is, in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, they have that infamous scene where, you know, he shoots the guy and they're supposed to have some long fight, and he just shoots him
because he had food poisoning. Yeah.
because yeah, he was you know, real sick and just still getting over it. Well, apparently he was also really sick. Well, no, he wasn't really sick. He had a dislocated disc, I think, in his spine or something like that during filming of Temple of Doom. They said apparently, like, the amount of pain he was in and all, whenever he had a scene that he was sweating, the costume department had, like, didn't have to do anything because that was all, like, real sweat. So
he was sweating through that entire movie.
yeah. So I guess it was a good thing they shot it in a hot environment, or a place that was, you know, seen as a hot environment. But like yeah, apparently, like, they had to stop. They almost had to completely stop filming. What they ended up doing, from what I heard, was his stunt actor or stunt double did a lot of scenes. Like, they did a lot of the action scenes while Harrison Ford was out getting, like, surgeries and stuff like that. And they just, like, edited them in with, like, some close-ups of Harrison Ford after the fact, just so that they could keep filming. But yeah. There was like that happened. I think, right, like the first couple days of filming, Steven Spielberg like either sprained or broke his ankle or something. I think he sprained his ankle or something like that. And there were some other different things that ended up happening. I think a bunch of the crew got sick first couple days of filming, and so a lot of people were like, "Yep, it was a cursed film," you know.
I mean, that's kind of a fitting thing for that movie, though.
Yeah, it really is. It's just the way that it. And hey, even the I think, if I remember right, I think this was also the time that it was George Lucas was going through a divorce, and I think Steven Spielberg had just like either ended a really long relationship, or I don't think it wasn't a divorce, but anyways, so they had some cursed stuff going on beforehand. So there just wasn't a whole lot of good stuff going around this movie, and it was poorly received at the time. So it's just everything around the movie just wasn't good.